How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, and I just wanted to do a quick little video here. I saw an article that the wife actually shared from ihorror.com. I will provide the link in the description box below so you can see it yourself. But it says Robert Englund has an idea of what to do for the next Elm Street film if it were up to him. I brought up the article here just kind of on my phone so I can read it to you guys and then kind of give my idea on it. He says, quote, "If I was in control of my own Nightmare on Elm Street movie, I have an idea I would have liked to see. I thought it would be great if the children of the previous victims, or just kids who grew up hearing stories about Freddy Krueger, were each haunted by their own version of Freddy Krueger. Kids who grew up hearing stories about this Freddy Krueger guy and the awful things he did envisioned him in their own way, and that is the version that begins to haunt them. Some people may picture him as a stout, whatever that means. Another might envision him as a tall and thin. Another with a different hat or a different sweater or a different glove. He could have a glove with small razor blades, as referred to in the first movie. It would just be neat to see very different interpretations of Freddy Krueger based on that child's vision of who or what Freddy was to them. After all, each person's subconscious would picture him in a totally different way." Now, the wife and I both agree that that's actually a really cool idea for a Nightmare on Elm Street film, and a very cool take on what Freddy could potentially be, so he's not just, you know, set in stone one thing. That being said, I think the one thing that Robert Englund is forgetting for some reason is that Freddy Krueger appears to these kids throughout 90% of the series as one kind of basic look and character. Needless to say, that being the brown fedora, the red and green striped sweater, the leather glove with the, you know, knives on the ends of each fingers or the blades, the brown or black pants depending, and like black or brown work boots. Now, the reason he looked like this is because this was the attire he wore when he did unspeakable things to the kids, and, you know, carried out his crimes on Elm Street all those many years ago, in the fictitious world, of course. And when the parents finally caught up to him, he was in his lair, the boiler room at some factory, it seems, or maybe under the school. The lore there is a little sketchy. And then they burnt him alive and killed him while he was in that attire. So when he finally reappears in the you know, the dreams of these children of the people who killed him, he looks like basically what he looked like when he was killed, and that image of him and the way he looked like that is basically why everyone sees him like that in their dreams, is because that's what he looks like. He is now a dream demon, or given powers to kill people in the dreams by dream demons. I'm not sure if he's one himself or if he's just given powers. So yeah, that's why he appears the same to everyone, because that's what he looks like. He's an actual thing. He's not just some sort of construct within somebody's subconscious or mind. Now, that being said as well, I do think it could still, like, his version of a Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger still could work, because although it would have to change, like, the reason why he looks like that, but it could work because Freddy Krueger gets his power or strength based on the acknowledgement of him and the fear of him, how much fear he causes. The more people fear him and talk about him and acknowledge him, the stronger he gets, and the thinner the ties between the dream realm and earth realm, or the the woke realm, whatever, becomes. So he's slowly able to breach the gap,
Yeah.
and the only way he could breach the gap before then is by people pulling him out of the dreams, by physically having hold of him when they're woken up. So yeah, he's going to appear to people in the most frightening form to them, because if he appears to someone and he's not threatening or he's not scary, they're not going to fear him. They're not going to take him seriously. He's not going to be able to gain that strength. He's kind of like a nightmarish energy vampire, where if you fear him, he feeds off of that energy and gains strength. So he's obviously going to appear to people in the most frightening form possible to that specific person. So if someone uh, has an affinity for, let's say, Christmas colors, a green and red sweater, and that doesn't make them frightening to them, and they think that's ridiculous, he's probably not going to appear to them wearing a wool Christmas sweater, you know, or if they, if they don't really care about people being scarred or burnt from a fire, or that's not really scary to them, or if they think that looks funny or just maybe gross, he might not appear to them in that form. You know what I mean? Like, or this skinny, scrawny little dude with some knives on his fingers might not be as scary. My point is, it could still work, but not because the person is envisioning him that way, or that's how their subconscious interprets the way they, picture that character in their head. He's gonna look that way because that's what frightens them the most, and that's how he's gonna get his strength quicker. So yeah, all in all, I really like his idea for what he would do with the Nightmare on Elm Street if he could make a film and base it off of his ideas. um, I think that's pretty cool. For my own idea, I think I would like to see them maybe delve more into the like how he got his powers, like just maybe more specifically address the dream demons and the process in which he had to go through in the afterlife of the film to get these powers, what deals he had to make. um, Maybe when he dies he goes to hell, and maybe the director or writer could be like, all right, well, his soul went to hell. He was recognized as someone who did great evil in his real life on Earth, and maybe he had to strike a deal with the devil or whoever rules hell, or the nether realm, or whatever you want to call it, in order to gain power to get back to the Earth realm, or the real world. So maybe they could touch a little bit more on like the dream demons. Maybe they could touch a little bit more about how he was able to start appearing in people's dreams. I think that would be cool. Maybe it's just me, but I would like to know. It's obviously fictitious and would never happen. But like I would like to see how that would be hashed out, and how they could explain how he could theoretically or supernaturally come back into people's dreams, and maybe establish the rules a little bit more. That would be cool. Like he has to like kill X amount of people or gain X amount of power, or just establish the rules with Freddy Krueger a little bit more, and just really run with that. I think it would be cool to see in a future Nightmare on Elm Street film. I know there's talks about just Elm Street, like just a movie called Elm Street coming out, which would be like a prequel, which would be like Elm Street, the original murders, and then have at the very, very end of the film, have it where they kill him off at that factory or boiler room or wherever it is. I'm not sure if that's still getting done or not. I'm not sure if Robert Englund will ever be attached to a Freddy Krueger character again. Hopefully he will be. If not, hopefully they don't go the Jackie Earl Haley way. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some good parts about the remake. There's some kind of awful shitty parts about the remake, but Jackie Earl Haley, the actual actor, he's a good actor. He did well with what they gave him. Just the prosthetics and the way they made the burn marks look, because they're trying to go for a more authentic. If you actually got burned alive, what would your skin actually look like, and whatever. And then they also tried to really hit home that he was like a sexual deviant and child molester, not just like a murderer. But they're like trying to get into that kind of tongue-in-cheek, kind of super creepy thing, which I kind of respect because it's pushing the envelope a little bit more. It's getting a little bit more under people's skin. It's getting into that territory where it's like this is not only scary, but it's also like unnerving and disturbing. So that's kind of neat that they actually try to do that, but I think it was executed in a not so great way. I think they didn't have enough time to really hash out everything that needed to be done. The movie probably needed to be a bit longer. The characters are just a little stale, and just some things could have been like, I don't know, it just could have been a better film in general, but it did have some good points. I just think that they didn't have enough time, and they just, I don't know. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on what Robert Englund's idea for a new Nightmare on Elm Street film would be. Um, Let me know what your like Nightmare on Elm Street kind of idea would be, if you have like a different idea you'd like to see for a Nightmare on Elm Street film. Let me know if you would like Robert Englund to return as Freddy, or do you think someone else could pull off the job as long as they get the old school prosthetics look right? Because there's probably a few actors that sort of look like Robert Englund that they could probably put in there to do it. Uh, do you prefer a witty, kind of sarcastic, jokey kind of Freddy Krueger, or do you like the more sinister kind of, I don't talk too much and I just stalk you and I'm more like grim and evil and creepy, sort of like Wes Craven's New Nightmare? He didn't talk as much and he was more like demonic in that one. And what do you think of the idea of my idea, delving more into the the lore of how he became Freddy Krueger, the Nightmare Stalker, and what do you think of like them trying to explain a little bit more of the rules of how it's done and how you can defeat him and how he's able to get the power? Anyways, stay sick, keep it horrific, for glory, for the Rebellion. I'm Slammerella. Peace out.